Good evening, everybody. Welcome to Pub Table Racers, show number 44. 44th show. We welcome you. Hope you had a great Christmas. Warren and I were comparing all the great things we got. And my name is Tim Pack, and sitting next to me is
Warren Brosell.
And tonight we are going to talk about this gentleman.
Sitting between us.
This is a special show. We're going to get to this Joey Meyer.
It's special.
Talking, yeah, not short, but special.
You are.
Yeah. So tonight's show we're going to talk about some
news.
news.
Time you probably saved our lives.
Well, we're going to talk about one one flight that I always remember. It wasn't your fault. We're going to talk about what we have going on tonight, and our guest is Joey Meyer. He's worked at Wood Brothers Racing, Dale Incorporated. He has 5 championships as a spotter, and he's been a pilot for years, and he now flies for Dale Jr., so we're going to talk to him, get all your questions. Bender's in the house. Troy Phillips says hello.
How you doing, Troy?
That's
I don't know
it.
who you are, but that's good. Glad to
All
have
right, so Warren, what do we have sitting in front of us?
We have a bucket of Miller High Life.
Brought to you by, even the beer sponsored right now. Unless Warren drank it all already.
No.
Frank Mathalia from Horry County Mowers in Myrtle Beach. We used to work with him at RCR. He had sent some money, said go buy their beer. So we're
drinking on Frank.
That's right,
Cheers.
drinking on Frank. So cheers.
Cheers.
Joey cannot drink because he has some work to do after the show. But so thanks, Frank. We appreciate it. And we drink it because of our good friend and our hero, Bobby Allison. Yep. And we're going to do that. We appreciate him. So I talked to him over Christmas. He was having a good day with the kids and the grandkids. And then the only news we have. Oh, wait. We forgot. I didn't forget. Let's do it now. This show is brought to you by our #1 sponsor, Lake Norman Patio and Game Rooms on Brawley School Road in Mooresville. And Brad, the owner, is having a tough day today.
Okay.
Because last night...
Did he win the lottery or something?
No, he lost the lottery.
Oh, because Buffalo won.
I should tell you this now. Buffalo beat his Patriots last night. Smeared them. Let's just say it, Brad. We smeared you guys. But, the bucket.
Right.
But I should tell you, so he wanted to bet last night. So I bet him a month sponsorship.
Nice.
But he wanted 8 points, and I'm like, I'll give you that. So
we should still be good.
Cheers. We got this month's sponsorship from Brad.
Thanks to Cam.
I'm gambling away our sponsorship this time. Trying to. So go see him. By the way, if you go see Brad, say, hey, I saw you on Pub Table Racers, you get a discount. And Brad would really like it if you stopped in, checked out all this great stuff. We've seen it. The
pool tables,
foosball,
air hockey,
all the furniture.
Whatever you want.
He's got it. That's it. Make your house better.
All your man cave game room needs.
That's right. Holy crow, here we go. We got all stories are rolling in now. Also, this is brought to you by the Garage Shop, Aaron Brown. You can read him in a second. Aaron Brown, he owns the Garage Shop, GarageShop200.com. All the great stuff they have going on. They're involved with the Bonneville Salt Flats.
Yep.
Rebuilding
It's like a Victory Land review with all the sponsors.
It's amazing. Well, no,
it's good.
No, we gotta do something.
We have room for more. Lots more. Go see them. Go check them out. Check them on Facebook. Aaron has been. We work with him at Dale Incorporated.
He was a DI guy.
Yep.
Yeah.
And,
Who's it?
Aaron Brown.
Oh, yeah,
absolutely.
That's it.
You flew him. Yep. Stories. And also our newest sponsor, Warren. This is your cue. You finally got it right. RacingJunk.com, the #1 and the official online classified ads for everything automotive, racing,
Junk
cars, memorabilia,
whatever,
trailers, all kinds of stuff.
Trailer
It's
trash,
not just
whatever.
shops.
It's not junk though. It's
It's not junk if you need it.
Yeah.
No, it's
one man's junk is
another man's treasure.
Another man's race car stuff.
So their database is 1.25 million people. So
one man's junk's another man's street stock.
Exactly. Street
Yeah,
stock
for sure.
or 4-cylinder.
We'll get to that.
So I did not. You know what I didn't sip after we toasted, so I'm a jerk.
You better.
Alrighty. So real quick, how was your Christmas?
Mine was awesome. I had a great Christmas. Just hung out here. Didn't wear a mask. Just stayed
What was the
down.
big gift?
The big gift for me was probably a golf rangefinder.
Okay,
There you
go. You?
Does that help you find the golf course or just
The ball, they get so lost. The balls get so lost.
Yeah,
Has to find it.
it's
like fine bowling ball.
It tells me how far away from the flag I am.
Right.
It doesn't tell me how far away I'm going to miss the damn thing, though.
Hey, guess who's on? Chrissy Diane Martin.
Well, why wouldn't she be?
She's my favorite.
Okay.
She knows that.
So how was your Christmas?
My Christmas was good.
What was your big present?
My big present. My mom got me a Batman with sleeves, like not a Snuggie, like a blanket, really soft. But I have a Snuggie with a hood. My mom got me that, and I got some other really cool. I got Batman masks, and Yep, I'm 56 years old, and I got some good stuff. It was
Okay,
good.
Joey, you?
So I got a Sawzall. That was my big thing.
A Sawzall.
Sawzall. I didn't have
Cool.
one. Well, I went to go use one. I didn't have one, so my kids paid attention, and
Alright.
my wife got me a
Is
nice.
it cordless?
Oh yeah, of course.
Okay,
Really?
nice.
Okay,
Nice
good.
tool.
Alright.
And then I bought my wife one of those robotic vacuums, and it is the coolest thing in the
A
world.
Roomba or something like that.
I actually I got the Shark version,
Okay.
which will map your house out.
Yeah.
Right.
But I followed it around to watch, and it's like it's gonna get stuck, and it didn't get stuck, and it's really cool. And it literally, I would go around putting stuff on the floor to watch it pick stuff up,
Oh,
and
Mike.
it did a good job.
Mike Wallace is tuned in. Hey, Mike, how you doing?
How you doing, Mike?
That's it.
Is that Rusty's brother?
It is-
Absolutely.
no, Rusty's Mike's brother.
And Kenny's
Mike's
siblings.
brother.
Kenny's-
Mike's
Kenny's sibling.
Right,
Older
yeah.
brother.
Yeah. Mike's the middle guy.
Yeah.
He had to fight for everything in between. Tom B. Okay, was it a Batman Sawzall? No, it's two different things, Tom.
Yeah.
Nice try, though. Okay, so the only bit of news we have, and I thought this was interesting, Floyd Mayweather, the boxer, has a
lot of money.
brand called the Money Team. Did I
A
go
lot
what
of
you're
money.
saying? So he's been in talks with Spire Motorsports. They tried to put a team on the track last year. Now he's talking with Spire, like how we can use, like they have a second charter with a part-time deal, Core the Joys in the 7. So they're trying to put something together where they would co-brand, so the Money Team could also be part of Spire Motorsports.
Nice.
I don't know how it's going to work, but that was like
So
If there's a way to find the end of the money train,
yeah,
he has the locomotive,
Yes.
and it's up to Spire to find the caboose.
yeah, that's it.
Because they have plenty of money.
well, we know it's racing.
It's
The caboose is not usually far behind.
Yeah. Well, he'll start with a big fortune.
What's the joke? You want to start making $2 million in racing?
Start out with 10.
All right, so that's all the
And
news.
Bender's waiting for me to say I knew she could wrestle, but I won't finish the joke.
Please,
Floyd
we're
Mayweather.
only 10 minutes in, guys. Let's
If I
get
don't say that, Bender's gonna.
All right, good. What? Who's Ann? Ann, your wife Ann.
Yeah, my wife.
Okay, I've never had the opportunity. I think I flew with your wife before. I don't remember her
Hey,
being
well, if you were on the Victory flights.
Victory Flights. I don't think I was. I was gone before that started.
Okay.
So she
I was
says.
on them.
She says, if Christy Diane Martin is your favorite Pac-Man, I'm turning this thing off now.
See?
Do you know your husband's sitting right here, right? So yeah, explain to him. Well, I'm sorry, she's my favorite. She knows it.
Ann was my favorite a lot of times because on the long distant flights, and me being a little bit older guy, and I would sit in my seat, and I might have some.
on yourself.
I might have some adult beverages.
White, right?
And they weren't allowed.
Yeah.
But if you're not being obnoxious
Right.
or
Right.
you're not
Drawing
acting like
attention
a
to
fool,
yourself. Yeah.
She doesn't know what you're talking about right
then
now.
she doesn't bother you.
She doesn't know what you're talking
That's
about right
perfect. I don't know what I'm talking about either.
now.
Then
Yeah. She doesn't know what you're
shut
talking
up.
about.
What's it say? Oh, Bender. What a kiss butt. Don't worry. And you're our favorite. Okay, there you go. Thanks, Bender. Appreciate it. Bender says Chrissy's my other favorite. Wow. All right, let's get to our guest, shall we?
Let's shall.
Ladies and gentlemen, this is an absolute honor to have this man sitting here tonight. His name is Joey Meyer. He has been a part of 5 championships, NASCAR championships, as a spotter. Now, help me out. 2 with Martin Truex, 2 with Dale Jr.,
One with Brad.
1 with Brad Keselowski.
Yep.
He has started out his career with Wood Brothers, flying with them. He met Dale Earnhardt years ago when he come from Florida, right? South Florida.
Yeah, we'll
We'll
put
get
it in
there. We'll put it on there.
chronological order.
And then he went to work for the man.
Yeah.
And then he's also worked Wood Brothers and flew for Brad. And he's now currently part of, what's it say?
It's JRM Meyer.
JRM Air, Junior Motorsports Air. And Joey, it's an honor to have you with us.
Appreciate you guys having us.
Thank you for coming. We appreciate it.
What a good way to end the season.
Exactly.
In 2020.
By the
Yeah.
way, this is our last show
Not
of
ever.
the year.
That's it.
Oh,
Not
I
ever.
was like, what?
Yeah, not ever.
What am I going to do with this basement?
we just got that audio stuff. Yeah, you want to do this basement? Maybe live in it. Normal
Get that guy over from the Reds, from the Washington football team to have a strip joint.
Yeah, well, look, he's unemployed right now.
Well,
It cost him. Yeah, I hope it was worth it, buddy. All right, so Joey, first of all, thanks for being with us.
Thank you for having me.
So, just kind of tell us what you're doing now, and then we're going to start back at the beginning here.
So right now I'm flying. That's all I do is fly. I'm flying for Dale Jr. Been over there just a little over a year.
Right.
Of course, I started my career at Dale Earnhardt Incorporated when Dale Jr. was just getting his career started.
Okay.
Our paths have crossed numerous times. We've kept in contact while we were at DEI, while he was at Hendrick, and I was with Brad over at Penske, and then our paths are back together now. So it's come full circle. So it's kind of cool knowing that I started flying for his dad, and then hopefully I can end my career flying for him.
So you're living in Florida.
So we start the scene out back in the 80s. Well, no, because it's very
a great story.
So you had Bobby Allison on the show several episodes ago. Did not start in Alabama.
No.
His racing career started in South Florida at Hialeah Speedway, which is where I grew up, where my father grew up, my uncle grew up. My dad and my uncle raced at Daytona on the beach the last year they ran on the beach in the sand in 1958.
That's cool.
If you look at the starting lineup, you'll see Marty Hanshaw, who's my uncle, and Freddie Meyer is the last guy on the starting lineup. So that's my history in racing has been very, very long. So I grew up in Hialeah Speedway. I was going to work on cars. I was going to be around race cars. I got out of high school in June of '84 on a Wednesday. That Saturday, I was at the Speedway, at Hialeah Speedway, when my mom was involved in a very serious airplane accident. And it threw me into aviation. Like, there was never an interest to be involved in aviation. That threw me, that sucked me in. So even after that happened, I actually didn't think flying was the way to go. I actually went to aviation maintenance school for 2.5 years, went back down to Marathon, which is where I learned to fly. And while I was working on airplanes is kind of when my world turned around, and this guy right here, can you see it, Dale, in the background? He flew into my airport, coincidentally enough. And being the super fan that I was, all the line guys came over to the maintenance hangar, which is where I was working. You're not going to believe who's here. I'm like, who? Dale Earnhardt? No way. Well, he had just gotten his first airplane. He had a Super Kinger F90.
Right.
Him and Teresa flew down before any of his boats. This is, again, we're talking late 80s now. And I roll my toolbox out to the airplane.
I love this story.
And he signs the back of my toolbox.
Wow.
Now, him and Teresa go to Little Palm Island for the weekend. I am sitting there for the next 2 or 3 days talking with my future boss, Mike Collier. I've called everybody in the world to tell them I got Dale Earnhardt's signature
on your toolbox.
On my toolbox that I still have. I still have in my house.
Fanboy.
Okay,
so badass though.
So this.
Okay,
so here's where the funny part is. The super fan. Everybody I know goes, "Hey, can you get me an autograph?"
Oh, yeah.
Well, what friend wouldn't do their friend a favor and get an autograph, right? So I'm not making this up. I make a list of all my friends' names. And when Dale comes back, I go, "Hey, can I get some autographs?" He said, again, late 80s. Okay. He literally signed every single person.
No way.
Yes, had a list of 12 names.
That's not bad.
To everybody personalized, and then had the stack of cards in the seat back. Signed the rest of them, just Dale Earnhardt. I still have some of those cards. But that's how
when they had their hero cards.
Yes.
So you had your own private autograph.
Auto session. Yeah, so that's how I met Dale, and that was in the late 80s. And from then until 1997, I kept harassing my future boss, Mike Collier. Hey, when are you going to hire me? Hey, when are you going to hire me? And in the meantime, flew around the country, was in Connecticut for a couple of years, went to St. Louis and worked at the airlines for several years. And then when DEI started to get bigger, we bought our second King Air. Steve Park's going to drive the Busch car. Jeff Green had tried to make a couple of races in the kids' car in the 14, didn't make them. We're going to get our second car. We're going to go truck racing. We're going to go bush racing. They need a second pilot. Mike calls me. I'm your guy.
So,
and there was
the time frame from the time you met him?
10 years.
Holy crow.
10 years. Yeah, it was 10 years.
10 years.
So okay, I know Mike. Which one is Mike?
Mike's he's the guy that's still there at Victory. He's Lucky. So it was
that's Lucky.
So Mike.
Yeah, I got nicknames. Yeah.
Well, Mike and Andrew were flying the Lear.
Yep.
Lucky was in one of the King Airs. I was in the other King Air. Back then, we flew everything single pilot. So it was really interesting. We had 3 airplanes. One airplane took care of Dale and Teresa. Of course, Taylor was still in high school. In junior high school. Lucky would take a truck team. I would take the Bush team, or vice versa. My first weekend was the Milwaukee race in 1997.
And what plane did you fly?
Flew a King Air, King Air 200. Yep. Lucky flew up. We flew them because we raced Milwaukee Mile.
Right.
And Steve was in Daytona, so we ran Friday and Saturday at Milwaukee. Then we flew home. Both Lucky and I flew down to Daytona to bring home the Cup team. Yeah, that was my first trip.
So I know Mike as Lucky.
Mike is Mike. Lucky is Lucky. You don't even know Lucky's real name.
Nobody does.
I guess I don't.
Yeah,
I'm trying to think. I know which
Kinger.
one Mike is because he works at Victory now.
Yes, that's
and
Mike.
I recognize him
Yep.
being with
Correct.
us.
Correct.
Okay, I guess I don't know Lucky.
You probably don't. If you weren't on the Kingers very much from the Trucker Bush days, Lucky's still around the
All I know
airport.
is Lucky's the guy who says when landing an airplane where you're not supposed to, you have to fly between two trees to clean the
Lucky.
wings off.
That's it. That's Lucky.
So it lands.
Lucky used to deliver electronics
Yeah.
to Mexico.
Yeah,
Oh,
Yes.
yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, for a long time. Yeah.
Yeah.
All right. So where did
So with contraband electronics possibly.
No, electronics.
So when did, so you get the phone call? What was that like when you got the phone call? Like you've been working 10 years. You've been
So I had a flight bag, and again, super fan. I'm at the airlines, captain.
Which airline?
Typical.
First, he worked on him before he flew him.
Exactly.
I gotta say that.
Right.
You were a mechanic before you were.
I was, yeah.
All right,
I was gonna be at work.
I gotta throw it in there just real quick because
Yeah.
that's a kind of
Sure.
that's my.
But you see an airline guy with his jacket and his hat and his epaulets walking around, and he had his black flight bag.
Oh, yeah.
Well, my black flight bag had the Dale Earnhart signature on the side of the whole side of my flight bag. Oh my wife. Yeah. So true story.
Yeah,
True story. So I
I'm-
come running into the terminal in the Concourse B at Gate 18. My wife's working. She was a ramp manager.
Uh-huh.
And I said, "Hey, Dale Earnhardt just called."
No, who called you? Dale?
Mike. No, Mike.
Mike. Okay. Dale, okay, got it.
So I say, "Hey,
Close enough.
Dale Earnhardt just called me to go work for him."
Yeah. She said,
Who's that? Yeah, she had literally no idea. She's a huge football fan.
okay. Right,
Loves,
that's cool.
She loves
That's
the
cool.
Bears,
Yeah,
loves the
that's
Hawkeyes.
good. Yeah. Okay.
But she had no idea who Dale was, and
Packers.
we convinced her to follow me, just trust me.
Sure.
And then she
You were
could-
married at the time?
Yeah.
Okay,
So,
got it.
so kind of, sort of, we were. Yes, we'll say we were.
Cohabitate.
Yeah.
Got it. All right.
And
Spending a lot of time together.
We moved to North Carolina, and she used to make fun of me because I put Dale on the pedestal. And then the first time she met Dale, she was like blah 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 blah.
So she could talk.
Yeah, and she realized that this guy,
Had an aura.
like right now,
Had an aura.
commands,
Yeah.
Bigger. His stature is bigger.
Every show. Yeah.
Yeah.
It's bigger,
Yeah.
bigger than you can talk
No,
about.
it's true. I mean,
But we were there for, we left there at the end of 2009, beginning of 2010, and it was the greatest 13 years of my life.
question: when you saw Dale, did he remember or did you have to remind him? The
So
first meeting.
no, so we were in our original hangar,
Right.
and he walked in and he kind of made a joke about, "You want my autograph?" I guess you don't need my autograph kind of mentality. No, we got plenty of them, but no. So it was an interesting to put that kind of a memory in his memory
Right,
bank, and then
right.
10 years later I'm working for the guy.
Yeah.
So.
By the way, I'm flying you around.
That's it. And I wouldn't have cared.
Yeah.
I wouldn't have
That's
cared what he
fine.
said. I was working for him. That's all I
Perfect.
cared about.
Okay, so your best Dale
Dale
story.
story. You got it.
My best Dale story is really one of the last times. So two quick Dale stories.
Sure.
My from the marathon right away the same year that I moved here. She moved here in December. Ironically enough, passed away the following February. Very unexpected. But the first guy that called me was Dale Earnhardt.
Wow.
And said, because he knew I had to go to Marathon and take care of the stuff,
Right.
because she was from there. Hey, I'm going to give Lucky and you an airplane. Whatever you need to do with it, let me know. And that was the first. So that was, that was really cool to begin with. But the last interaction that I had with Dale Earnhardt was I was fortunate enough to be one of the 3 people to spot for him in the 24-hour race.
Oh yeah.
So I did Dale.
Wow.
I did Dale Jr. and
Yeah,
we did Dale
number
Senior.
3
and
Corvette,
the
yellow
yep,
Corvette. Yeah.
Yep. So we got all done. We got all done flying or spotting. Ty Norris was with us. He's the other gentleman that did it. And we flew home. He got all done. We put the airplane away. Now it's just him and I sitting there. And I went down there at the time. I was spotting for free in 2001. Was doing some practices on the Cup side, but realistically wasn't a full-time spotter.
Was it your
yet.
first?
No. I had been. I started right away with Ty in '99. I was the second spotter. We used to use 2 spotters at speedways,
Yep.
and then multiple spotters at road courses, and that's how I worked my way into it.
And maybe Pocono and stuff like
Just
that.
like that, exactly
Okay,
right.
Yeah.
Yep. Down there in turn 1, which is we went away from that. Now we're back doing it again, which
Sure.
is kind of funny. But we got all done loading the plane back at the hangar, and everybody had left from the plane. He walked over and he gave me a wad of cash, and he says, "I really appreciate you doing this and taking your time away from your wife. Go take her out to dinner." and he gave me $500. And again, we're talking 2001, and I was doing it for free. And here's a guy that you idolized.
Wow.
And you've been working there for 3 or 4 years.
Yeah.
And he walks up and gives you some
kind of guy he was.
But he appreciated it. That's how everybody knew.
Hard work paid off with him.
Yep.
So you went home with a $100 bill and said, "Hey, honey, we got I'm going to dinner."
Yeah. In fact, she's probably on there right now going, $500. He only gave me $100.
What was with the bid
I gave her a meal.
Right. So we have both flown with you many times.
Yeah.
And my favorite thing you always did is when we went to Daytona for the first race of the year. You always had the unique landing where you kept that wheelie. You kept that wheelie like right until the end, and we'd all sit there going, "Do it, Joey, do it!" We're all back, and boom, he dropped the nose just in time. And the other thing is when we won a race, you would go before we took off. You would do a victory circle.
Yeah, and that's one of the things that was really cool, and Victory still does it. Yeah. So we were able to carry that tradition on to other race teams. Not all the captains are up on it, but the race teams, it's just nice to be acknowledged, and it's really cool that you get to celebrate, and it's something unique. Like, you don't hop on an airliner and do a victory lap on the runway before you take off, so it was something we always did. We started in the King Airs, and we did it in the Brazilias, and then went to the RJs, and now the Victory guys are doing it too.
So, kind of like Maverick buzzing the tower.
So this is my story. This was not your fault at all. We were going out Vegas testing, and we were in the Brasilia.
Everybody got sick. I already know the story.
No, not everybody. There was 3 idiots that did. It was me, Two Bear. So like we take off, we're going to Nashville, and the weather's terrible. Like we're thunder, lightning.
Well, no, back up. There was no thunder.
Okay, lightning.
No, there was no.
It was all of that.
No, it was actually cold, and it was a cold weather. And it was, if you remember correctly, it wasn't storming and lightning. It was bumpier than snot.
Rainy.
But it wasn't because of thunder and lightning.
Okay,
it was just a cold front coming through, and the turbulence was terrible.
We bounced around like a pogo stick.
Yes.
So we're on the way.
Yeah.
So I have to back up. So we went, I think, on a Thursday. So we all know what Wednesday night was back in the day. You went to Vinny's for $1 beer.
Yeah.
So I remember getting a Gatorade. Thinking, okay, I'm going to have Gatorade. Well, we're in the back, and I'm sitting on a 2 beer. Kevin Pinnell. All of a sudden, he jumps up and he goes, "Oh, F this." And he goes over to the bathroom, and he goes, boom, and he busts the door open. He's in there. I'm like, oh, he went. So we're good. And I'm sitting there and I'm going, holy crap. And all of a sudden, like later, I go, I gotta throw up.
Yeah.
So I go in there, and just as I'm about to, the plane hits, my head hits, and I launch, and I end up on my shoes and all around except.
You made a mess.
I mean, sitting there trying to clean up, and you're falling. And it was a pair of new sneakers I got. They were Tommy Hilfigers, and the red was right on the laces and everything. And so we get to, it was a 2-stop.
Yep.
So we get to the 1 stop. It was me and Two Beer, and who else got sick. And the 3 of us are sitting at the table. Joey comes over and he sits with us. He goes, "I heard some guys got sick," and I go, "You're sitting with all 3 of them." And he goes, "Oh, really?" It was like, yeah, but that was it. It wasn't your fault. That was like, oh yeah. So people talk about the glory of the racing times, but other than that, man, it was always flying with you. I just knew when we got on that plane,
it's top notch.
We had a really good flight department.
It was great.
We were the first flight department in the country to have 30-seat Brazilias flying privately.
Yep.
And that was a huge honor at the time. Dale was so proud of everything we did on the aviation side that back in the day, Dale would ride to most of the races on the Brasilia with the team.
Yep.
Huge card games, lots of money won.
Right.
Nobody lost.
So he was getting his own money back.
Yeah. And then
Dave Chanette says,
"There's Dave.
Joey does the best aerial burnouts ever." He said, "I saw Rob Lopes hit the overhead." Lopes is a big guy there.
Yeah.
Becker says, "Didn't we land at Statesville one late night and there was a tractor parked on the runway?"
I don't know about the tractor.
Okay, tractor on the runway.
So here's what I want to say, and you can fix this of anything that I'm saying. Every time I would fly with Joey, and I remember when it would get really bumpy, if he could get above it or below it, it wouldn't last long. You know, like you're on a commercial flight and you're pounding for hours, like, and I always remember like flying with him, and it's like, because I would say to other people when God, if we were flying with Joey, this would never happen.
Never happened.
Because it always seemed like you would either know to go above the turbulence if you could, around it or below it, and even landing, like his landings to me, and you can correct me if I'm just out of my, not saying this right, but it would be like we're down and we're on the ground and
Right.
it's done and it's over with. It's
right.
none of this
Elongated.
wham, wham,
Yeah, no.
wham. You know, it was like we're gonna get through this. You know, you might come down on a steeper angle or whatever,
Yeah.
but we were getting it done
Yeah.
and it was over with.
It was
and
good.
I always appreciated that because no one wants to fly in that junk.
No.
So one thing we got at the race teams that you didn't get at the airlines was the privateness or the personal touch that
Sure.
you had. You flew the same guys all the time.
Mm-hmm.
You know, you got to know your passengers. The passengers got to know your pilots,
Right.
and there was a heck of a relationship. Whether you know, whether we're going across the country or simply flying down to Atlanta or Talladega,
Right.
it was a lot of fun.
My favorite one with Joey, like you have to use the restroom, so you come walking back as we're in the air. You come walking back to it, I'll be like, you know, like, look, who's up there?
You know, I'll tell you
Who's
this:
up there?
for a couple of years, I had to fly on Miami Air,
Oh God.
and we land in Concord,
Yeah.
and you know, I remember a couple of people saying, God, we survived another landing. I said, no, we survived another crash. That just happened to be a landing.
We didn't know we got shot down or landed.
Yeah, you know, it's a big plane. It was a short runway.
We got
I don't know if
spoiled. We got spoiled.
You can reiterate on any of that,
Yeah,
but
that's
that
fine.
was nasty stuff.
So we talked about one flight, and we talked about it, and you're okay talking about this. In 2001, we lost Dale.
Yep.
Sorry. You flew the plane back.
Yeah,
You
it
flew
was.
the
It was. You know, I called my wife from a payphone in 2001.
Yeah.
You walked in the FBO. There were hundreds and hundreds of people, and there wasn't a sound. It was everybody at that time knew, or everybody was being told what was going on.
Right.
And I walked over to a payphone and said, you know, he was gone, and we had to fly home. Like you, so you have to okay, shake that off. You have to get home.
Right.
But we flew home. There wasn't a lot of chatter on the plane. It was something that it was the quietest, longest flight that I can remember, and we landed, and you know, you felt like you were just in this tube by yourself, but you weren't. We were in the time we were in our Brazilias, which were a 30-seat airplane. It was stuffed full. We had Dale Jr. on, and it was a difficult time, realizing that we had just lost. Every single one of us had lost the hero,
Right.
that we looked
Yeah,
up to,
our
that we worked
hero.
for,
Yeah.
right? And you know, he wasn't bigger than God, but it was a guy that everybody that worked for Dale. There were two types of people: the people that worked for Dale and the people that wanted to work for Dale.
Absolutely.
And every single person that didn't work for him wanted to be there, and we were that company. To know that we lost that man, it was worse than anything at the time that you could have dealt with. But it was a quiet flight home, very quiet, very surreal, very.
You were on that.
I was on the plane,
very fake.
and Joey and I talked about it before the show. They let us go all the other planes got out of the way.
Get out of
Yeah,
here.
we were on the ground in a ramp full of people, and back in the day, what you do is you just start taxiing out, and everybody would get in line. Well, the tower and ground control knew who we were and what we were doing, and we literally pulled out a line, taxied down the runway backwards, and then allowed us to take back off in front of everybody. Yeah, so we didn't have to wait. So again, something that didn't ever happen, but even the tower people knew the reality of the moment that we were in.
And you had a job to do.
Yeah.
You knew responsibility, but even on a personal level, because you had a personal connection.
Were you
Yeah,
big
spotting
time.
that day?
I was not spotting. No, I wasn't. No.
So-
I did practice. We did practices, and I wasn't spotting full time in 2000.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. But I just give you credit for, doing
Yeah, that was our.
That was tough.
That was my best day and worst day.
Sure, yeah.
Michael wins the first 500 I'm ever at,
Right.
never pitting a car,
Yeah.
and then my hero dies.
Yeah.
Same day.
All right, let's go to spotting. So how did that start?
Yeah, so back when we always used second spotters for the large tracks, Pocono, Daytona, Talladega, and multiple spotters at a road course. Well, so you needed people, truck drivers, PR guys. You've done it.
I've done it. Yeah.
Exactly, and that's how I got started. And when you do a good enough job, then when other opportunities arise, they say, "Hey, it's your turn. You get tapped in. It's your turn."
Right.
And so I was doing practices for a while because, again, back when we flew at King Air and we didn't have enough people to bring the primary spotter in for the 8 car. So
Right.
I was spotting the 8 car on Fridays and Saturdays for practice, which NASCAR mandated we have a spotter for practice after and guys used to spot for years from the inside infield hauler. Where after that event, they mandated spotters. We didn't have the extra seats, so I started doing practice. Once a position opened up on the 15 car with Michael, I worked my way into that. I was still doing like some non-companion Busch cars races for the 3 car. And then when Truex got into the Chance 2 car in 04 and 05, I did both those years.
And it led to...
Yeah, been to 2
championships.
championships. Yeah, we got 13 wins, I believe, in 2 years.
Here's what it led to. First of all, I don't know if you guys have noticed, but Joey is he enunciates his words very well. He's very well
articulate's the word.
Yeah,
that's a good one.
Thank you. But he talks. When you listen to him on the radio, because I have for years. Whether it was at DI or at Penske, and I listened to him talk drivers at super speedway races, Daytona, Talladega, through. He has won drivers' races, and he
appreciate that.
He might think I'm kissing his ass, but no, I'm telling you, when you listen to this guy on the radio, he's talking him through stuff. He's telling them what to do, and they're listening to him. And he'll win a driver a race at a speedway race.
Aviation played a huge role.
That's what I'm getting at.
And that because you key the mic and you say things very clear, concise, and short, and that allows you to spot well. Because when you're keying the mic and your cars are going 200 miles an hour, you're covering a straightaway in the amount of time I just had the sentence come out of my mouth. Well, a lot happened just now at 200 miles an hour, and you don't have the time to blather on and just talk without relaying concise information. It just seemed like it worked out. It was a good relationship. And we were successful, but we had really good teams, man. We were just paired up. I mean, look at the drivers that we've been with personally and been successful. I mean, Ron Hornaday, Dale Jr., Steve Park,
all winners.
Martin Truex.
Right.
I was with Brad Keselowski. You know what I mean? So it's those are the guys that they've been really good with really good teams.
So I thought about this after I should be on. I'm like trying to think. So I was the announcer at Chicagoland Speedway for 2 years.
Yep.
But I was still with the team, so I would go up with you guys, and then I'd just slide up there and do that. Well, so I always kept listening. So Dale Jr. was doing a one-off, and then nationwide race, whatever, and you were spotting him. You're doing your good job, and then he's like behind you, and you're talking about what's behind him and this and that. Third time, fourth time, I'm still saying. All of a sudden, I'm up in there. I'm about to say something, to read something on the book, whatever I had to do. And Dale Jr. comes on and goes, "Joey, I don't give a flying what's going on behind me. I just want to know what the heck's going on in front of me." And I'm up there laughing, and the guys that came from next door and like, "What's so funny?" I said, "I really can't tell you what involved Dale Jr. in the spot." Like, okay. And then you were up there, and you were coming back, and I saw you. I go, "What was that all about?" He goes, "Well, I was just trying to be helpful."
That was early on.
But then he probably said 10-4.
No, you did. You played it cool. Dale Jr. was very emphatic. He didn't give a what was going on behind him. He just wanted to know what's going on in front of him. So, and that you're going to have those moments.
Spotting is a relationship. It's like a marriage. You're going to have good and bad. And it was our job to get better as whatever the driver wanted to need. If I didn't change my ways, I wasn't going to be paired with him very long.
No,
so you had to give. And that was early on in the Dale Jr. Chance 2 days.
Yeah, Chance 2. That was such a. We put him in the car at Richmond, and Martin Truex leads laps, blank car, and then 2 championships in a row like that. But it was good you were part of that. The Pinnell family just says, "Hey, they're enjoying this."
Very nice. Yep.
Love you very much. 2 beer.
Fly with Russell in the morning.
That's it. You do.
There you go.
Small world.
Jet Zarella? Jet says, "Hey," he says, you spotted for us on Paul Menard's first win in Milwaukee.
Yes, that's funny.
That's right. Yeah.
Stevie Reeves has been spotting for that car for a long time.
How did that happen?
Okay, so it's a funny story because we used to take the Brazilias to the West Coast.
Right.
Well, instead of taking the Brazilias to the West Coast and airlining to Wisconsin, what we did is we swapped. They airlined to Sears Point, and then we flew to Wisconsin. Well, if we flew to Wisconsin, it meant I had to go to Wisconsin.
Right.
So Stevie and I swapped spotting that weekend. So I went to spot Paul Menard and won the first race with him. And Kevin Harvick had a heck of a battle. It was amazing. Yeah, Stevie and I talked about that all the time. But I was with. I can't say I got his first win, but I sure was with him. It was a lot of fun.
So Shanette says Joey spotted for me when I put a car together and ran Daytona with a dirt driver from New York. He told the guy, "Don't let them get to your outside on the start." My guy didn't listen.
No, that was fun. Yeah, that guy had he was big dirt guy.
So I got a picture here from a good friend of ours.
Yeah, that's nice.
But this is, Joey spotter, airline mechanic, airline pilot, spotter, championship spotter, then Joey decided he wanted to be a driver.
Well, I driven some street stock stuff down at the world famous highway.
I don't know. Can we see that?
Hold it up. See it.
So when we talk about one man's junk,
so one of our good friends sent me that last night. Slugger sent me that and said, "You have to bring this up."
So this is
Joey wanted to drive.
Wait, real quick before you start. Here's the horsepower in this picture.
Yes.
Gary Putnam, modified ace, team,
Slugger,
Bono, Will Gray,
and Russell.
Love Muscle.
A lot of people.
So
a lot of good teams. So
all champions.
All champions.
Yeah. So we took a crash car, not a crashed car, but a series known as a crash car. Bono had built, Russell had built them guys, and it was sitting in the weeds. It had been crashed, and nobody was driving it. And when the series came up, the Kimmel series allowed guys like myself to race Rockingham, and we put that car together
on New Year's Day.
Yep, 70 plus people qualified.
Right.
I qualified 33rd.
Perfect.
Finished 13th. That was the highest finishing NASCAR guy.
We thought it was great.
It was the greatest thing in the world.
Spotting for you.
Okay, so here's the story. Here's the story. So have you heard it?
I know. You told me to ask you some questions.
That's why it's
So here's the story. So during the race, every single restart, every yellow, everything, Slugger's yelling at me as if I'm doing something wrong, and he's saying, "The tower keeps saying you're not doing it right." And I'm like, at this point in time, I'm so flustered, I'm believing everything he says. So, Joey, get in line. Joey, don't do this. Joey, don't do that. And I'm like, man, I really don't know what I'm doing. So we finished 13th, which was the highest finishing NASCAR guy. We had a good race, lead lap. Chuck Barnes won that race.
Okay. Wow, there you go.
At the end of the race, I go over to Mr. Kimmel and I apologize because now Kimmel is in the tower. And I'm like, "I'm sorry that you had to yell at me so much." He's like, "What are you talking about?" Slugger been drinking Bloody Mary since 9 a.m. that morning.
Yeah,
He was on the roof.
You said it.
He was feeling no pain and lied about the whole thing. They never mentioned my name on the radio.
Oh my God!
And everything he was saying, he was just making up to bust my heart.
You saw that we just named off those. I'm going to bet they all showed up still good from New Year's Eve.
Yeah, I heard it was a New Year's Day.
Yeah.
Apparently Slugger was telling me that there was...
Took that car. So here's a good story. Took that car. Bono said, "What do you want to do with it?" I said, "I'm done racing." He says, "Let's sell it." I put it on eBay.
Right.
Two guys got into a bidding war. A guy from Mobile Motorsports, Montgomery Motorsports Park won it. Put his kid in it.
Yeah.
His kid later on got in late models and just got accepted to the NASCAR diversity program.
Seriously.
Swore to, that's a good story.
What's his name?
You got
Sorry, you brought it up.
Richard Patino.
Okay, that's fine.
Richard Patino is the gentleman who bought my car.
Okay.
And his kid now is in that car. Come through the Joey Meyer diversity program back from 2008.
Right, with the hungover, still drinking race crew.
Everybody else
who was there.
Slugger, and all those guys. Oh my God.
I mean, I'm surprised it went through 10.
No,
like was he NASCAR guy?
No, it was a fun time.
So then you ended up with Brad.
So at the end of 2009,
Brad Kozlowski.
so the end of 2009, DEI is kind of on the decline, Dale Earnhardt Incorporated, and we're about to be swallowed up by Chip Ganassi Racing. Martin Truex has already announced that he's going to go to Michael Waltrip Racing, and Jamie McMurray's going to come over to DEI/Ganassi Racing to drive the one car. Jamie had his spotter already. Longtime Lauren Rainier from Rainier Racing had been spotting for McMurray for a long time. And I was going to be without a job. And so I was going to be a pilot. I was going to fly, which isn't bad. I'm flying for DEI, flying good airplanes. But I enjoyed the camaraderie and the competition from the racing side.
Yeah.
So at the fall Michigan race, a young kid that I'd been spotting for in the Busch car over at Keith Coleman Racing was driving the 23 car and had done a decent job over there. He came to me and approached me in the fall and said, "Hey, what are you doing next year?" And I said, "What do you got?" "Well, I think I'm going to sign a deal with Penske. Are you available to come fly? I'll buy an airplane and spot." Brad Kozlowski. And our relationship, our relationship lasted 10 years. It was really good. We had phenomenal success with Paul Wolf and Jerry Kelly and the guys.
Yeah.
Warren ends up over there at Penske, and we had great times. Ton of nationwide races, Xfinity races, Sprint Cup.
So you spotted for him and you flew his plane.
Yep.
Well, you guys, that's a lot of that's a lot of together time there.
So that was the idea. That's what I enjoyed. I enjoyed that build up on Wednesday and Thursday, talking about the flight, where are we going racing? Back then we didn't have SMT, these video things we have now. But we went and watched a lot of videos of past races, and you spent time together. Again, you were building that relationship. The only way to get better is to talk about what's right and keep doing that, and what's wrong, don't do that anymore.
So on the flights back, this is a question that just came to me. On the flights back, did he talk with you about stuff then, or
no?
He just kind of let you do it? We'll talk.
Yeah, no, we would fly home. He would live. We would. Getting on the plane, it was either good job or let's talk when we land. But we would have meetings on Mondays.
We'll talk when we get home.
Yeah, Mondays and Tuesdays.
Well, you did win a lot of races with Brad, so I'm sure that was probably a lot of good.
Championship in 12, Xfinity Championship, Nationwide Championship,
Speedway races.
Speedway racing. Yeah, he was good. Paul gave him good cars, and Brad did a good job driving.
If you guys have any questions, now's the time to ask them. We got chatting here. We have it's 9:42. So if you have any questions for Joey, something you have on your mind. I mean, you have here a spotter, 5-time championship spotter.
Well, you got five nationwide Busch championships, 1 Cup championship, 1 truck championship.
World-class pilot.
Pilot.
Yeah, we can fly.
Yeah.
So
you can fly anything, basically, I guess.
So once you get to a certain level of training, you basically go to type-specific training in a particular airplane.
Right.
I've gotten to that level to where if you bought an airplane and you wanted me to fly it, I go to school for that airplane.
Okay.
And that's how that works. So whether it's a 747 or something as nice as a
Learjet
or
a quick question for you. Okay, you're in a King Air or this brand Bombardier.
Sure.
And you got to get in a Hawker.
Yep.
Do you have to... The controls are obviously different, I'm sure.
Well, the airplanes fly the same, but most of the systems are so complex that you correct. You go to what they call, again, type-specific training, and you get trained for that particular airplane. If you hopped in a Peterbilt truck, and then you hopped in a Kenworth, they're going to drive the same. The gas pedal and the brake are going to be the same, but where the air brake switch and where you made up the trailer might be the same, and outside the airplane or the truck where you made up your air hoses might be a little different, and that's what you get trained on.
Great analogy. That was perfect for us laymen.
You put it to
because when I look in the cockpit of an airplane, I go, Jesus.
I
do the same thing. I don't know
you go to your liquor stand. I'll be back here. I know what I do best.
Yeah,
that's good.
Look at my Christmas tree over there.
Amanda and Gonzalez and David Nichols. You're right. They're from Buffalo. They said nice city.
Is Dave Nichols at Mule?
It's Mule. Yeah, Mule. Sorry.
How you doing?
He says hi. He says he hopes to hear him on the roof again someday.
I don't know if that's going to happen.
Where's the spot?
I don't. I was very, very humbled this year to be called by about. I can't. The only team that did not call me was RCR. Okay. There was a lot of opportunities as we move on to the 21 season with new drivers, new relationships, that spotter changes, whatever the case may be. Right. And I was fortunate enough to be called. But right now, I'm really happy, and my home is with Dale and Amy, and we've got the newborn with Nicole and Isla and the family, and that's, again, 24 years of doing this, and now it's come full circle to where I started my career when Dale Jr. started his, and I'm hopefully going to be able to finish my career as Dale rides off into the sunset with his airplane. He does NBC, so we'll go to every race the second half of the season. The first half of the season keeps us very busy, unless the sky falls again like it did in 2020. But we fly quite a bit, and it's a full-time job, and I don't want to take away from that.
So Gail Delaney says, at the track with Junior now, is it hard to just watch for you?
So I actually watch more of the Xfinity side now because of Junior Motorsports.
Okay,
So I'm still rooting. Very good friends with those guys, whether it's Noah Grayson or Annette or Justin Allgaier, whoever it might be. Dave Ellens lives in my subdivision, so it's a very still tight-knit group. But I pay more attention to the Xfinity side now than I do on the Cup side because of our personal relationship with Junior Motorsports.
Sure. Yep. Those are your guys. That's like you're part of that family now. And you got to root for them, and you're still you're still a racer.
Yeah,
it's hard to get that out of you.
Racing is it's a disease. It's an addiction. It's an addiction, and anybody that has it realizes that you spend your entire career trying to get in the garage, right?
Right.
Once you're in, you spend the rest of your life trying to figure out a way out. That's the way it works because you're trying to. What I mean by that is you're trying to make sure that what you're doing in the garage gets you to the end of your career.
Okay, right. Okay.
You know what I'm saying? So how am I going to finish my career in the garage to be able to walk away from it?
Right now I'm doing both. I'm trying to get back in.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
That's all right.
So, so the guys that work in the shop are there forever.
Sure. Ryan Clark.
Yeah.
So I like going still.
Oh yeah.
I want to be in a garage.
Sure. Yeah, because it's.
I feel left out if I don't.
So there's people I found that went to work for NASCAR itself, and I'm just repeating something that I was told. They're the younger generation now, who they said after a year or two, they said, I can't do this anymore with all the travel. It's cutting into my social life, and I'm like, that is my social life.
Yeah.
Because
that's a person
that's
a person that's only in racing for a job. It's not the addiction.
Yeah. Right. Like I grew up in it. You grew up in it.
This is the first time in 25 years that I have not been to a NASCAR racetrack.
Wow.
And I'll go back to 25, even though I've only been in sport for 22 because I went to the racetrack. Right. So this for me is like crazy.
Yeah.
Both sons have graduated. My wife had some surgeries. Mm-hmm. I didn't miss a race.
Yeah.
I worked my travel around, so I was there on Sundays. But realistically, what we did was the only weekend I ever missed racing once I got started was when my son graduated the Navy. And we were actually gone the whole weekend. It was a Coke 600 back in 2017, I believe. 2018.
Sometimes you got to do that. Yep. Ryan Clark says, Joey is why I bought the scanner app on NASCAR and why I haven't renewed.
That's nice.
Way to go.
Yeah, good. Wow. Run him right off.
I'm out. He's like, I'm saving $5.99.
That's exactly
right. Here we go. Tom Beatty says, was there and that's our number one thing.
Okay.
Was there a specific track that was more challenging to spot for than other tracks?
When we talk about spotting and challenging, most fans want to know where it's hard to spot from, right? Or where it's difficult to see the track. From a spotter standpoint, what we can't stand is a track that we can't see at, right? It's not the racing, and Pocono was a difficult one because of turn one being so far away.
Right.
Spotting at the Brickyard on top of the pagoda, it's the only place that we spot from the infield.
Your vantage point.
Well, we spot from the infield.
Right.
We don't spot from the outside. So we actually use two spotters. On the building inside the Brickyard is called the pagoda. You spot on the back stretch side or the front stretch side. You can't see the whole track, even though you're in the whole track. Road courses.
Yeah.
The easiest track to spot because you don't do anything, but it's very difficult because you're handing off people to different spotters.
Yep.
Those are the ones that I think of difficult. Most of your race fans, the Tom Beatty, #1 fan of the world here, he would say, Daytona or Talladega, Bristol, Martinsville. I love those places.
Sure.
I foamed at the mouth to go to Martinsville or Bristol or Daytona and Talladega.
Yep.
I could not wait because I enjoyed it so much. And again, the success we had, Martin Truex won multiple Talladega races in our Busch car, and Brad's won multiple Talladega, and we won Daytona and Martinsville's and Bristol's. We've been very fortunate to win. And when you win, that's your favorite track. You enjoy going and you enjoy doing that job, and it just seemed to work all the time.
So I spotted at Watkins Glen at the bus stop.
There you go.
And then also where they came around, they did the loop there.
Mm-hmm.
But the bus stop was kind of like, because they were going off left and right, and you say they're off the track left and right, and you got to figure out how to get through the whole thing. But with Menard, they had that one big wreck, and that short chute coming out of there as you came down the left.
You drove him right in.
Well, I know, because he's like, he goes, did you see what was going on? I go, Paul, they were all over the place. I said, I saw you. I was like, keep steady, go straight on through, because they were just wadded up all over. But that's a tough track like that.
Yeah.
But, other track.
Road courses are different. Road courses are different because you see left and right instead of inside and outside because we're going the opposite direction. And again, you have multiple spotters. Phoenix used to be difficult because we stand down in the old turns 3 and 4. Now it's the turns, or the old 1 and 2, and now 3 and 4. We're so low to the track. It's a unique place to spot at Phoenix. Not hard by any means, but a little unique.
I spotted for Leffler there, and I said, when you get down in that end, you're on your own. Try to get see, come through the whole thing.
Yep.
Okay, here we go. Thomas Fecto says, I'm a part-time as a short track modified spotter. I spotted for a driver that didn't want a lot of chatter, and for a driver that wants a lot of chatter. What is the difference in what you've experienced with those type of guys? Any suggestions?
Yeah, no, so absolutely. Dale Jr. was the guy that didn't like a lot of talk.
Right.
Brad Keselowski was completely the opposite. He reminded me, and I use this euphemism all the time, so when you're watching the Weather Channel, it's on in the background, you don't mute the TV, it's just there.
Right.
All of a sudden, weather on the 8s pops up and your ears wake up and you hear what's going on weather the 8s. So with Brad, I would constantly give him information.
Right.
He had the ability to pick and choose. What Dale Jr. wanted was only the information that he wanted when he needed it. And that was a spotter that stayed with Dale Jr. for a long time, was able to learn that. The difficulty I had is I wasn't with Dale for a long time.
Right.
We did random races, and quite honestly, we were up front all the time.
Yeah.
Right. So the race you talked about with Chicagoland, we weren't up front.
Right.
So the information that I was giving him versus what I would give somebody else, he didn't want at the time.
No.
And that's that relationship building that you do over a period of time. And the guys that are really good, when you go back and look at all the drivers that were in the last 4, the drivers and the spotters have been together for several years, and that matters.
Yeah.
Was that Chicagoland the last DEI race he won?
He was it was an orange Menards car. That's
Oh,
what I
okay.
remember.
Because the last Cup race he won at DEI was Chicagoland.
Yeah, this was an Xfinity race.
That was actually with Steve Neal.
Okay.
The only reason I'm saying that is because I built the car.
Oh.
It came off my surface board.
Yeah.
So that's what we were getting at.
Easy on your shoulder.
Well, I gotta bring
Troy Prince.
Hey, Troy.
Up in Maine there.
What's Troy up to?
He's went back to Maine. He's doing great. He builds indoor batting cages for his kids and
Very
everything.
cool.
Yep. He said, "How did
Troy carried tires
Yes.
with Sean
Great.
Ward,
Yeah.
Sean Ward, and Troy carried tires.
funniest guy?
Ganeri.
Funniest guys."
Yep.
He asked, "How did you ask permission from the tower to do the first airplane donuts?"
It's interesting that they don't know what you're doing, and all you're really doing is asking for a 360 in position. So you don't tell them what you're doing.
Right.
You just ask to do that, and they're kind of dumbfounded, so they let you do it. Right. So you want a 360 in position? Sure, go ahead. They don't know what you're doing or why you're doing it.
We're on the plane going, yeah!
So what you would actually realistically do is when the weather was bad,
Yeah.
again, this is before internet and Nextrad-based weather, you could turn the radar on, and as you were turning on the ground, you could take a picture, and you could look at the weather and what you're getting ready to fly through.
Oh, sure.
So, but when the weather's good, there's no reason to do it. But you just ask. You can get away with a lot of stuff by just asking.
I think for a few years they knew.
Well,
they won. Here you go.
Yeah.
All right. Should we? The one
we should.
Yeah. All right. So while you're getting that, was it Watkins Glen was tough to get out of?
Watkins Glen's still tough to get out.
Is that where some people would ask to go to Cleveland?
Yes, all the time.
I just remember that when you were
all
talking.
the time.
Oh my God, this is all coming
all
back.
the time. So you would take off at it because in Watkins Glen you're in New York Center's airspace.
Cleared for Cleveland.
And you would go. And you would go from New York Center to Washington Center. Well, to play the game, you get out of New York Center's airspace as quickly as you can. So you would take off and just go west.
Yeah, sure.
And heck, we'd file to Kentucky. You just go somewhere and go crazy to get out of New York Center. And then when you got in Cleveland, Cleveland go, cleared your States.
I just remember that while you were sitting there.
We do that all the time.
I know, but these memories are coming back for me. So, all right, it's time for the one wing challenge, Joey. Here you go.
We eat a wing.
You take a bite.
I didn't know about this.
Oh, I'm sorry.
You don't have to eat
I
a
love
wing.
wings.
Okay,
so good. It's not ghost peppered or anything.
No.
Okay.
But this is a flavor I've never tried in my life before. These come from Lancaster's barbecue, big staple in the community. Yep. So I saw these on the menu. I said, I have to try these because we tried different ones throughout the year. The flavor is Old Bay.
Old Bay.
I was blown away when because I ordered 10.85 when I was there. Sorry.
These are very good.
These are freaking delicious.
Yeah, they're good.
Yeah. So on a scale from 1 to 5, you can do 1.3, 4.6, 3.2. How do you like the flavor?
They're a little spicy. How do they get them spicy?
So I love. So my wife will.
Old Bay.
I love spicy food.
Okay.
So for me, on a scale of 1 to 5, these are a 3.5. You could go hotter.
Sure.
Spicy wise.
Right.
On the flavor, on the spice.
Yep.
Flavor solid 4. I love a lot of texture.
Yep.
A lot of good flavor.
That's good.
Yeah.
Perfect.
Yeah. The only reason that I can't tell you they're 5s, they're not fresh. I'm sorry.
I'm sorry.
I don't have a bottle of beer.
And we warm them up in the oven,
So, all right. So Ryan Clark says my favorite Joey win was the Kentucky Fuel Gamble in 2016, and what made it so entertaining was Brad, Paul, and Joey all on edge during the final stint. It sounds as if they all wanted to wring each other's necks. I believe You also spotted the...
Is that the race that we won with Carl Edwards? I believe it was.
Oh, shit. I wasn't there.
What'd you do?
Uh-oh, nothing? Okay, we're good.
Yeah, I think we beat Carl Edwards because Brad really was saving gas like crazy,
Right.
shutting off, and Carl was coming. And then Brad had saved just enough that when Carl got to him, he turned it back on. We finished 3 and 4 and won the race. That was a stressful race.
Yeah.
Because you didn't know, you don't
Right.
know how much gas you're
Rolling
rolling
it.
in.
Right.
You know, we have 3, I think, Kentucky trophies.
I'm going to give them a 4.
They're good.
All right, so I'm going to give them a
That's
4.2.
Yeah,
That's good.
They could be a little hotter.
They were wet.
I would like to have them be
They're dry and wet. Just so you know, the 2 options you have.
hotter and
Okay.
that spice is
Okay.
good.
So Mary Stevens says Old Bay ? I said the same thing, Mary. And then Matt Lombardi says Old Bay wings are the best. Hey, everybody that's
Any
works
questions?
in the racing community, tomorrow at 12:30ish,
Yeah,
we're gonna have what are we calling it? Racers Roundup lunch, BS,
whatever you want to call it.
whatever.
I'm going to Big Al's.
Big Al's in Mooresville. We're gonna drink. We're gonna get together. We're gonna do some day drinking. We're just gonna all of us get together.
Yep,
Spend
I'm
a
off.
time.
I got a ride.
A lot of guys are. A lot of guys are.
Quite honestly, it used to be a DEI reunion.
Yes.
Well, yeah.
That's where it started
That's
from.
where it started. I started that years ago.
It's been 10 years now since DEI is gone, so
Right.
it's kind of, the reunion kind of got beat to death.
Right, got beat to death, and then,
There's
yeah.
still a lot of DEI folk
Right.
that show up with a lot of good stories and
Right,
history,
this is it. So-
but there's a lot of extra people outside of DEI now.
So this is everybody, anybody in the sport. We're talking past, present, mechanics, crew chiefs, drivers, PR people, marketing people. Tomorrow, Big Al's, 12:30ish till God knows when.
It's in Mooresville, exit
In Mooresville,
36.
yep, right on 150 there. Come on out. Let's have some fun together, and we'll get together and hang out. So that's what I got there. Mary Stevens, it's always good for Kozlowski fans when Brad beats Carl.
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay.
We got one last quick question. What's your best Bono story? Bono Mannion.
Who's that come from?
Kevin
That comes
Mannion.
from Kevin Soulsby.
Oh, Kevin Soulsby.
Okay, so you
My
must know.
best Bono. Well, I've got some good ones, but the way Bono and I introduced each other, so we all hired. I always claimed to be hired before him, and he always claimed to be hired before me. So, as far as our date of hire,
Right.
but on the one car, he hands me I'll never forget this like it was yesterday. He hands me a schedule,
Right?
and he says, "Hey, tape this up on the toolbox."
This is your first meeting with him.
One of the first times I'm in the garage with the one car.
Right?
So tape this up on the toolbox. What does that mean? It means take the schedule, take some tape, and tape it to the toolbox.
Right.
I'm not very artistic.
And this is when he's a car chief.
yes,
right?
he's a car chief on the one.
And because Paul Andrews is the crew chief. Okay.
It looked like a 5-year-old had taped it to the toolbox, but in my eyes, it was
perfect.
I did what he said. I
Right.
taped it to the toolbox. He blew a nut.
What?
Blew a gasket
For what?
because it wasn't perfectly taped, cut edges, and I learned my lesson. That's so they. When I came into
Sure.
racing, there were quality skills that I wasn't groomed up on racing. There are no better people in quality control than race car guys and
Oh, yeah.
fabricators.
Sure.
And you learn how to elevate your stuff, because if you're not elevating your stuff, that means you're getting beat by somebody that's elevating their stuff.
Right, exactly.
And it came time to put a simple schedule up on the toolbox. What was satisfactory to me
Right?
wasn't to him.
Got
And
it.
he let me know it. To this day, I actually talked to Bono yesterday, so we still have a great relationship.
That's good.
Have a great relationship. Again, he was very, very paramount in
Yeah.
my racing career.
Sure, obviously.
That's
So I know it's 9 o'clock, but I want to say this.
Oh, that's fine.
So here's how it goes.
We can come over.
And I thought about this before we started this tonight. Everybody has their talent in this sport. Okay? Yours just happens to be spotting and flying us and getting us home safe.
Right.
Right.
Mine just happens to be making a pretty race car.
Yeah.
Tim's just happens to be, helping us sell a pretty race car.
Right
But,
about it, yeah.
but what I'm getting at is we all take our real profession seriously. If someone told me to fly, hey Warren, get in an airplane and fly, I'd crash at the end of the
Yeah,
runway.
yeah.
For a long time on the 8 car, I actually used to do the underneath on the engine with Jeff Clark.
Okay.
So we nut and bolted, and then
Yeah.
we'd come up top, and I would help him change valve springs on the 8 car.
Right.
He used to get grief because he was letting the pilot work on the engine. And I'm like, Jeff, and it used to upset me because I'm like, Jeff, if somebody let you fly home,
Yeah.
they would be like, man, you got to fly home. That's cool. But
that's so true.
Yeah, but the engine,
Touch the car! Don't touch the car!
But the pilot gets to work on the car. Like, what are you doing? Letting the pilot work on the car.
Airline.
What are you nuts?
Jeez.
Yes.
I mean, you were a mechanic before you were a pilot.
Right, exactly.
But a lot of people never realize that. So the relationship there is
You told me stories how people would get mad because you got to tape the nose of the car on.
Yeah, I used to do the tape.
And in my book, when I broke a story about everyone else, they get mad about that. I'm like, well, do your homework.
Were you on Carrie's ARCA car?
I was.
Yeah, because you taped the nose of that car.
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
I remember that.
All right, we're good. You good?
Man, it was a
I
good
got
time.
to fly home on the co-pilot seat in
Yep.
King Air one night.
Really?
Not with you. I think it was with George. He said,
Yeah.
George, can I sit up there and listen? Absolutely, come on up
Yes.
here. And he fell
years
asleep,
ago.
and I'm listening. And
Yeah. He
we're
fell
going.
asleep.
What'd you say? What?
Years ago, we flew single pile all the
Yeah.
King Air stuff because
That's
we needed the
just
extra
King
seat.
Air, yeah.
Well, we needed the extra seat for the
crew members.
Yeah,
Yeah.
It's fun.
Yeah, nowadays, 2020, you would never fly single pilot.
No, I get it.
It was.
Hey, you know what? I'm going to say something. Joey, absolute honor having you
Awesome,
on.
man, guys. Thank you
And
very much.
it's- We were blessed at the end of our year
Yeah.
that we've done, so
Yeah.
Thanks
this
for
was
having
good.
us. Cool.
And,
There's a lot more to talk about.
Yeah.
You know, we 24 years. We've all been in the industry over
Yeah.
20 years,
Crazy.
and I'm blessed to still be a part of it.
Yeah.
Not in the garage, but like you say, we're doing
good.
everybody. You know, a train is a locomotive and a caboose, and there's a lot of cars in between.
Right.
Yeah.
You don't make a train without all those
In
cars.
between.
And right now, we're not the locomotive, we're not the caboose, but we're a bunch of cars.
Trains and
We are.
And that's what they're all doing their job. And
As
that's
long
what
as
we
I'm
do.
on the track with everybody, I'm
There you
good.
go.
Right,
Exactly.
right.
Exactly.
We love doing this.
Sure.
We've put our whole, 84. When you said 84, you got out. Same here. I mean,
Yeah.
we graduated at the same time. I thought maybe at one point in time you went into the Air Force or something. I was wondering how you got your
Start
pilot
with that.
No,
background,
it's from
which is so awesome, your story. But it's just how everybody does this for a reason.
Exactly.
And your reason was kind of like our reason.
I grew up in it.
It's who you run into it.
Yeah.
If you'd have never ran into Dale Earnhardt,
It would have never.
this would have never
no.
happened, right?
No, that little small meeting that
Right.
in Marathon, Florida, when he flew a King Air down
Yeah.
to go to Little Palm Island, was the only opportunity that presented
Yeah.
itself. And after that, it was up to me to pursue it.
To do it.
You know, he wasn't calling me, and I tell everybody, how what do you do to get in this sport? You don't give up. You have to.
Yeah.
You have to keep your resume. Don't let the ink drown your resumes when you're handing them in. Just keep handing them in, handing them in, handing them in.
I agree with you.
This is a cyclical sport.
Yeah.
There's a lot of hiring and a lot of firing, but eventually, if you're good at what you do, you'll get hired.
That's it.
And there's also a longevity in this sport that some people don't understand. And guys who can last 20 years plus are good people.
Sure, they're easy to get along with. They do and they do their job well.
Cheers.
So
Happy New Year, guys.
Happy New Year,
Happy New
everybody.
Year.
We appreciate you guys. We'll see you next year. Our guest next time is Liz Postala. She is the only female tire specialist and mechanic, full-time mechanic in the NASCAR Cup Garage. We're going to talk to her. Plus, she has her own clothing line. So, should we say it? Mm-hmm. Good night, Dick.
Good night, Dick.
There you go. Thanks, everybody.
Get off the couch, Bender.
Get off the couch, Bender. Happy New Year, everybody. We'll see you next year. Wow. Hey, another great show.
Great
Thank
show.
you so much, everybody,
Yep.
for tuning
Enjoyed
in.
it.
We appreciate it. We do this every Tuesday night, and Warren, I think the guests we've had have been fantastic.
Phenomenal.
And the people that are following us, we appreciate it. We're reaching 42,000 people a month. Can you believe that? And we appreciate you watching. And
We're having fun. Hope everybody else enjoys it.
that's it. And it's just a fun show. Bucket of beer, guys sitting around talking about it. So keep tuning in. We appreciate it. Check out our store and everything. But we appreciate you people, and we will see you next week, right, my friend?
Yes, sir.
All right. See you next week.